Welcome to Revenue Growth Live with Darrell Amy. You're about to join an interactive forum where business executives, sales professionals, and marketing leaders share ideas to accelerate growth. While you are here, make sure to like or subscribe to get notifications for future episodes. You're encouraged to get involved in today's live conversation by liking and commenting. Now, let's join Darrell Amy for fresh ideas and innovative strategies to help you grow your business faster.
Welcome back to Revenue Growth Live. Darrell Amy here, growth architect, helping great companies and people grow so they can give. I'm excited that you're here today, and I'm really looking forward to our conversation about how to create great content that resonates with buyers. This is what we want to talk about today, is how do you create a message, whether you're in marketing or whether you're in sales or whether you're an entrepreneur with a small company, a startup, doesn't matter. The question on the table today is, how do you create marketing and sales messages that resonate with buyers? And so I'm excited to share some very practical things that you can use in your messaging to make sure that you resonate with buyers. But as we get started, I just want to say welcome back to everyone who's joining us again online. If this is your first time to Revenue Growth Live, the purpose of this is very simple. Every Tuesday and Thursday at 12 o'clock noon Eastern, 9 o'clock Pacific, I want to bring you specific tactical ideas that you can put to work to grow revenue. You know, throughout the week, I get to talk with business owners. I get to talk with marketing leaders, sales professionals. On the Revenue Growth Podcast, I get to talk with some incredible thought leaders. And in all of it, what I want to do is take the ideas that come up out of those and have a forum here where we can discuss those together. So if you're joining live, I'd love to hear from you in the chat. If you're joining, watching later, that's awesome as well. Love to interact with you in the comments and all of it. Today, though, I want to talk about this topic. How do you create marketing and sales messages that resonate with buyers? A couple other things really quickly as we get started. I'm excited to announce that we are now able, let me just pop this up here. We're now able to deliver the Revenue Growth Engine book for free. Just pay shipping and handling, and we'll get a copy of Revenue Growth Engine to you for free. I want to be able to do that for two reasons. The main one is I want to make sure that you've got everything that you need to drive revenue growth as we move into this new year, which is a critical year for many businesses. You know, this is an important time right now for a lot of organizations. You know, the concept of revenue growth is not a luxury anymore. This is not going to be a great year to flatline. I'm going to drop this link in the podcast. This has been a really challenging year for a lot of folks, and you know, the reality is this coming year, 2021, is a year where you really need to set yourself up to accelerate growth. If you took a hit in 2020, you know, this is a year where you're going to have to really dig deep and get strategic and get creative in 2021 to make sure that you can recover what was lost and set yourself up for a profitable future. And if you were one of those companies that 2020 was just a, you know, hey, maybe you sold plexiglass or personal protective equipment, the reality is you've got to have a strategy moving into 2021 to replace that revenue or sustain that growth. So I wrote Revenue Growth Engine specifically for that, to help companies accelerate revenue growth. And I'd love to get a copy of that book in your hands. Now, one of the challenges with revenue growth is how do you get through to buyers? How do you get through the static to get the attention of buyers? And it doesn't matter if you're in sales or if you're in marketing, we all face this challenge. You know, right now, there's estimates that there are 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 or more messages per day that we're exposed to, whether that is obviously online, on television, as we're driving around. My goodness, you're exposed to messages now when you fill your car up with gas. So this, you know, the challenge we have right now is there are an incredible number of messages flying at us all day long, every day. And in order to survive in our society, we have to have really, really good filters. And we've got to be able to filter out things that don't matter to us. Otherwise, we'd simply go crazy with all of the email and messages and advertisements coming at us. We would go insane. So we all have, and this goes for every buyer out there in today's society, we all have finely tuned filters, and they're set up so that only a few things get through those filters. That's how we stay sane. What gets through the filters? The things that get through the filters are ideas or strategies related to the outcomes that we want to achieve. And when I say outcomes, I mean goals that we want to achieve or problems that we need solved in the achievement of those goals. If you've hung out with me for any amount of time, you know that I always I love to carry around this. This is an 1/8-inch drill bit. You go, Darrell, why do you carry around an 1/8-inch drill bit? Well, two reasons. Number one, when I'm not helping companies grow, I'm in my shop. I love building things. But the real reason I carry around this 1/8-inch drill bit is it reminds me of one of my favorite authors. Theodore Levitt was the father of modern marketing, and he used to walk into his Harvard Business School class on the first day of marketing class, and he would hold up this drill bit, and he would say, see this drill bit? Nobody in the history of hardware stores, Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace Hardware, insert hardware store here, nobody has ever gone to the store to buy a drill bit. What they went to buy was the hole. They didn't buy the drill bit. Nobody wants a drill bit. What they want is a hole. Now, Seth Godin would take it a step further and say in his writing, he would say, look, they didn't buy a hole. They actually bought the ability to drill a hole in the wall so they could hang a plaque on the wall and look good to their friends. And Donald Miller would take it even a step further in his theory that says, hey, look, inside we're all cavemen and cave women. We're afraid that we're going to die. And we need community. So I want to hang that thing on the wall so that people respect me and I can fit into the community. Well, it doesn't matter whether you went to the hardware store to buy because you needed a hole, because you needed to hang something on the wall to feel good about yourself and look good to your friends, or whether you were trying to survive. The reality is you didn't go to the hardware store to buy the drill bit. You went to buy the outcome that drill bit delivered. So why am I talking about this? The key to getting through the filter is to understand the outcomes your buyers want. And so today I want to share with you some ideas in terms of what are the outcomes that buyers want. And I want to talk in particular today in my specific area of expertise, which is B2B, business to business. So let's take a look at the outcomes that businesses want. And when we understand these outcomes, what we're able to do now is we're able to create content that resonates. So I'm going to share my my iPad here, and I want to outline 4 categories of outcomes that you can be thinking about. Whether you're in marketing and you're faced with writing a blog article, creating a new website, creating a brochure, putting out a social post, or whether you're in sales and you're faced with prospecting and driving conversations and having topics to bring into your periodic business reviews with your clients. So I believe, and I write this in Revenue Growth Engine, that there are 4 levels of outcome. Let's explore each of these. The first is financial. Businesses have financial outcomes, right? And if you think about the outcomes that your clients want, the reality is, many of them are financial. Now, they're not the only ones, and they're not even always the most compelling ones, but, either they've got to raise revenue or they've got to reduce expenses. As they say in the South, I'm a good Canadian boy that married a sweet Southern girl. And in the South, they say, if you want more profit, you either need to raise the bridge or lower the water, right? So what are my goals in terms as a client, as a prospect? What are the financial outcomes that I'm looking for? And what are my challenges related to those? So that's the first area to think of. And the second area of outcomes is one that gets overlooked a lot, but it's actually really, really important. And that's the area of risk. That's the area of risk. Every business inherently assumes risk. It's just a reality of business. It's part of doing business. And as a business owner, as an executive, or as a leader in the business, What I want to do is I want to reduce my risk. I want to reduce the risk of problems happening, right? And if you think about it, there's an entire industry that is built around the reduction of risk, right? If you think about the insurance industry, what they really sell is reduction of risk. I am able to offset the risk that if I get in a car wreck, it's going to financially devastate me. I'm able to offset the risk that if I get sick, it's going to financially ruin me. I'm able to offset the risk that if something happens to me and I die, my family will be taken care of. Well, the insurance industry has built an entire business around reducing risk. My question to you is, what are the risks that your prospects and clients have that they want reduced? And how can you help reduce those risks? We could do an entire episode on this, and I actually believe that maybe that's something we'll do next week. But what are the risks that your clients have in their business right now that are, I hate to use the word keeping them up at night, but I'll just say it. What are the things that are keeping them up at night that they're concerned about, risks that they would like reduced or mitigated? That's an outcome they're looking for. So it's not always financial outcomes. It's also, what are the risks that you could help them reduce? The third level of outcome is related to organizations. The organizational, see if I can spell here, organizational outcomes. Thank you. There is no spell check here on this iPad whiteboard. So what are the organizational risks? What are the organizational outcomes that your clients and prospects want to achieve in terms of, I think about things like improving employee engagement. Right now, I was talking about this with my good friend. We were talking about Dr. Tony Fawcett. We were talking about just the abysmal low levels of employee engagement right now. They were bad before everyone left the office to work at home for the COVID crisis. Employee engagement's at an all-time low. How can your product or service help? Maybe if that's one of the outcomes they want, maybe they want to reduce turnover. Maybe they want to increase employee satisfaction. Now, the last is personal outcomes, and this one is really critical to think about as well, because even though it's a B2B transaction that we're talking about here, one of my favorite book titles, and actually this book is in my stack to review, I'm looking forward to reviewing it, is B2B is P2P. What do they mean by that? Business to business sales is actually person to person sales, because inside every business, there are multiple decision makers and influencers. And each one of those decision makers and influencers has personal outcomes that they want to achieve in their career, with their family, in their department. They also have some risks they want to avoid. They want to avoid the risk of looking bad, possibly affecting their career. So here's where I'm going with this. If you look at all these outcomes, what do we do with that? Well, first of all, we need to ask ourselves the question, what are the outcomes that our clients and prospects want? How do you find that out? Well, one of the best ways is to ask them. Go take one of your clients or prospects, take a bunch of your clients or prospects out for a virtual cup of coffee or a virtual lunch. Maybe even put together a forum with some of your best clients. Get them all together in a Zoom room and say, hey, I just wanted to put a forum together where we can talk about the challenges that you're facing going into 2021 and what goals you have and how you're concerned about achieving those goals. That's going to give you the outcomes, the business personal outcomes that your ideal clients and prospects want. Then here's what you do with those outcomes. You use those outcomes to be the lead on every message and every conversation. See, remember, going back to the beginning, buyers didn't go to the hardware store to buy a drill bit. And I don't care what you sell, whether you sell technology, whether you sell financial services, whether you sell cars, janitorial services, doesn't really matter. Whatever you sell, The reality is that's not what people are buying. They're buying the outcomes those products and services deliver. So I want to challenge you to look at this list and go, okay, what are the financial outcomes that we deliver? What are the risk outcomes that we deliver? What are the organizational and personal outcomes? And then how can I set this up so that every single conversation I drive, every message I send, every email I write, every social media post we create, every page on the website begins with a headline related to that outcome? So, for example, let's say you sell a product or service that helps companies streamline their accounts payable to get paid faster. Now, your product or service might be called XYZ SaaS software. And let's call it Account Payable Magic or something like that, .io, some cool name. How about accountspayable.magic.io? I don't know if that exists or not. We just made it up. And let's say that you help companies get paid faster, reduce their accounts payable and their days sales outstanding. Now, that's the outcome you deliver. Now, here's the temptation. Accountspayable.io, Gartner Quadrant 4 category leader, software of the year, incredible company, all that stuff. Don't lead with that. Don't lead with the features of your product. Lead with the outcomes that product services deliver. So instead of leading with all the feature set and how incredible your company is, your website should talk about the outcomes you deliver. We help companies get paid faster. We help blank type of companies reduce their accounts payable. And then blog articles, instead of writing about how great you are and how your features, say 5 ways to get paid faster, 3 ways to streamline accounts payable, how companies are reducing their DSO. You see where we're going? If you're prospecting, I'm calling to set an appointment with you today because other companies are looking for ways to reduce their days sales outstanding. Not I'm calling to set an appointment with you today to talk about how great we are and how great our software is. So I want to challenge you to lead with outcomes. In fact, in Revenue Growth Engine, and go ahead and grab a copy of the book. I'll put the link here back on the screen. I'd love to send you a copy if you're willing to just help me out with shipping costs. But in Revenue Growth Engine, we talk about how in chapter 5 of the book, how to actually build an outcomes inventory. And I'm going to leave you with this today. Maybe we'll pick this back up on the next episode of Revenue Growth Live. But if you think about it, every company, every sales team has an inventory of products or services that you sell. You know, when I was a sales rep, we carried around, I'm going to date myself, a price book. Now I'm sure it's digital, but that was an inventory of everything that we could sell. Well, I would say just like you have a product inventory or a price book, you also should have an outcomes inventory. What are all the different outcomes? And you could organize it by category. What are all the different outcomes that we can deliver to our clients? And based on that, then you can take those outcomes and you can create an inventory. It's almost like an ingredients list. Last night, I made chicken scallopini. You should have come over. It's pretty good. And I had a list of ingredients, all the different things that needed: capers, lemon, butter, all those things. And so I made the recipe out of those. Your outcomes inventory are the ingredients with which you create the recipe of amazing content and conversations. So marketing people, your outcomes inventory is where you go to build it's like the raw ingredients for your message. Salespeople, it's the raw ingredients for your conversations. So think about your ideal clients. Think about what are the business outcomes that they want, the goals they want to achieve, the problems they want to solve, and what outcomes can we deliver to them? And then how can we deliver those outcomes? And now you have a formula for a message that resonates, because it's going to lead with something that's important to your ideal clients or prospects. Therefore, it's going to get through their filters. So I want to say a huge thank you to everyone for joining us today. And we're broadcasting on Tuesday, November 24th. That means on Thursday, November 26th, will be Thanksgiving here in the United States. So we'll be taking the day off that day. And that just gives me a great opportunity to say a huge thank you to everybody. Thanks to you, we launched the book less than 6 months ago. We were able to get international bestseller status on the book. It's driving incredible conversations. And I'm beginning to see the goal of Revenue Growth Engine start to unfold. And the goal is to help generous companies grow revenue. I'm looking for companies that create meaningful work, give back to their communities, and I want to help those companies grow. And I'm getting to meet many of you. We're already seeing some of these strategies being put into action, and that's leading to growth. It's creating jobs. It's creating giving opportunities. And for everyone that's out there doing that, I just want to say a huge thank you for being a business that makes an impact. And as we head into Thanksgiving, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all that you've done to support me, for buying the book, for leaving reviews, and for spreading the word about Revenue Growth Engine. It means the world to me. We'll pick this conversation back up a week from today. And until then, let's get going